Mwahahaha. When this video airs, it will be my birthday! So this is just a little happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, happy birthday Danielle. That's me. Happy birthday to me. Thanks for celebrating with me. Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Dreamtime with Danielle. I'm Danielle, and yes, when this video airs, I will be the birthday girl! And since it's a quarantine year for everyone and we're all doing quarantine birthdays, thanks for joining and celebrating with me in my little quarantine cabin. I'm excited for this one because this one had a lot of fairy tale characters, and that's like, right up my alley. So, without further ado, the dream. I dream I'm in a musical town of fairy tale characters, and I see a town meeting. I am gifted a deck of cards in a black box with brambles twined around the corners. All art, not real brambles. I feel so touched and place the deck of cards to my heart. They're tarot cards. Of course they are. They feel nice. By the way, even though I was gifted this box, it was because someone was throwing them out. I was essentially catching them. Catching some cards. Walking away, the scene changes to a restaurant where three women, Lady Tremaine and her stepdaughters, are dressed very ethnically. We are in a Mexican restaurant and they are talking to the server or complaining. Apparently, they had to put on disguises to be served at this restaurant. They all have dark black hair, black eyes, and are wrapped in saris. Saris. It's as though someone imagined what being Mexican looked like and went too far, delving into Indian dress. I can see her gray hair, Lady Tremaine. I can see her gray hair poking out from under the black wig. She says this is what her family must do to get service because they are so hated, and tells the server to take their food away. She does, and takes a bite of their unfinished food. Lady Tremaine balks and says she didn't give her permission to eat her food. I leave. I hear singing, and I know three mermaids are about to do a doo-wop number in a hotel room. I really want to see them, but I know they will eat me if I stay. I walk around the town amazed that they only have one restaurant. Something about Prince Charming looking for Cinderella, and I wake up. And that's the dream. Okay, so let's talk symbols, okay? We've got fairy tale characters. We have specifically Cinderella's family, and then at the end of the dream, a really vague reference to Prince Charming searching around for Cinderella. Cinderella herself does not make an appearance. But we also have the repeat number 3. Lady Tremaine and the two stepdaughters, and then 3 mermaids. Let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about this town meeting. Town meeting! It's a town meeting of fairy tale creatures. This makes me think of Shrek and the town meeting of fairy tale creatures in the swamp. I cannot use a pen on my chalkboard. Okay, so what do fairy tale characters represent to you? It's going to be different for everyone. To me, fairy tale characters represent a few things. Magic, obviously. Morals, they come from old housewives' tales. Fishwives' tales? They were to teach lessons back in the day. We live in the time of Disney Renaissance and musical influence, and so this has them take on a nuanced approach to they're not just about morals, they have powers. They're not just about magic and true love, they experience traumas and conflict. So a town meeting with these types of personnel tells me that there's some type of gathering of these different personalities and that they're trying to come to a consensus of some sort, perhaps. Let's go with that. I'm going to draw the deck of cards. Okay, so this deck of tarot cards, it was a black box, and then the print art on the deck had these beautiful twining branches and brambles, and I love trees. So this art totally calls to me. And tarot is another form of my love. I love cards, I love card readings. I do card readings. Information's down below. Tarot holds a special place in my heart because it speaks the language of symbols. And what is this channel about but symbols? Particularly symbols that we speak to ourselves in the subconscious. Dreams are always communicating to us, but it is our job to decipher them. So I've actually been dreaming about cards all week. I've been dreaming about specific tarot cards, playing with decks, looking at different artwork. So this is a running theme in my dreams. And cards hold so many different meanings. They are an element to play games. They are an element of reflection. You can play with other people, or it can be a solitary event. You can use them for divination, answering questions, seeking answers from within, or reading for other people to gain insight. So there's a lot of use when it comes to intuition, interpretation. The colors hold meaning. The expressions hold meaning. Each card has its own meaning. They work individually and as a team. So there's a lot of elements when it comes to this deck of cards. And then I hold the deck. I hold the deck to my heart because this was so poignant to me. Thank you for this gift of tarot cards, Dream. Ooh la la. I loved it. So, tarot cards, something I love. But also another form of magic that I love to do and share and express myself with and indulge in. But first, some water. And then we have these brambles wrapped around the edges. And that creates this sort of door or a gate. I mentioned I love trees, and it was formed of trees. So this is like layering love on top of love for me. That's how I see this. If I was a deck of tarot cards, I would be exploding with divination. And each card, even though it has its own meaning, will add up differently depending on the cards it comes out with. So they each hold a power, and they each hold the potential to tell you something different based on the spread that you use or the people that you're with. Thanks. The brambles are also entwined, and I think it's a good reminder that everything in life is entwined. Nothing happens solo, even when they feel like individual events. The things I say and do are entwined with who's around to experience them or who it impacts, whether I bear witness to it or not. They're wild. They're beautiful. Hashtag aesthetically pleasing. So yes, cards are good for both entertainment purposes and informative values. A lot to unpack in this one deck of cards. What I think is also fun is that I'm gifted these cards in a negligent sort of way. They're being tossed out. So to me, one man's trash is another man's treasure. In this case, I'm the man. Cards, tarot cards, are also intended to be inherited or gifted, which means a deck is much more powerful when it chooses you, as opposed to shopping for one for yourself. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you'll find a different connection to your deck based on how you came into owning it. Let's move on. Okay, so now we have a restaurant with Lady Tremaine and the two stepdaughters in disguise and in wrong disguises. Apparently they were going for a Mexican look, but instead they ended up giving themselves a very Eastern Indian apparel.
Sorry.
It is pronounced sorry. Ha! Sorry.
Sorry.
That's interesting because now knowing that it's pronounced sorry gives this an element of repentance. Like these three women who are known for cruelty, abuse, mistreatment of another, especially one so pure as Cinderella, are wearing saris. There's an atonement element here. And the number 3. The number 3 is significant. It means magic, past, present, future. So there are cycles of time at play. You can also attribute that to the stages of womanhood, mother, maiden, crone, not in that order. These are the steps that occur in the lifetime of a woman. Not necessarily always will you become the mother, but you will take on the mothering attribute. So let's draw 3 women for the sake of this part of the dream. They look a little bit like nuns, but they did not look like nuns in my dream. Okay, so this garment, a sari, is unstitched cloth that's draped around the body to create a lovely shape and form. It is traditionally worn by Hindu women from India and Pakistan, according to my quick Google search. And it's so interesting that my dream focuses on what they're wearing while they're in this Mexican restaurant. And to me, a Mexican restaurant represents comfort food, like cheesy, hot goodness, sizzling vegetables and spicy flavors. I love Mexican. I love Tex-Mex. It's so good. So they're in a place of comfort food. But they're incognito because who they really are will be a problem. The stepmother herself says she has to dress like this. She has to come in disguise to feed her family. Okay, so let's discuss. Lady Tremaine. Let me write this down. Lady Tremaine is the Disney name given to the archetype of the wicked stepmother. And wicked stepmothers are prominent when it comes to fairy tales, which makes a lot of sense because fairy tales are based on morality and a lot of them have Christian backgrounds. And the one thing that's a super no-no, the one thing that's a super no-no in Christian doctrine and in morality is to be a bad mother. That's the worst thing you could do. So an ideal mother is upheld for being nurturing and compassionate and able to provide, able to feed her children, able to give them proper lifestyles and infuse them with morality. So it's, again, interesting that they're wearing saris. 1, in English, sari means atonement, repentance, sorrow, or grief. But a sari is not spelled the way that we pronounce it in English. A sari is a gorgeous confection. Okay, confection is not the right word. A sari is a gorgeously draped, beautiful piece of fabric. It could be silk even, something decadent. So they're dressed in decadent clothing while incognito. They're in disguise. They are hated. So if I was to look at this and say, okay, we are everyone in our dream. We are everything in our dream. So I am 3 women in saris. This could be about me feeling that I have to represent myself a specific way to be fed, to get my needs met, because that's what they're doing, right? They're meeting their needs. Everyone has to eat. And what happens in a restaurant? You get served. There's service. And one thing we know about this family is that they were used to being served. They had a servant. Her name was Cinderella. But in this case, this is post-Cinderella. This is their lives after the abuse. And again, that's what they're known for. They're known for abuse. They're known for... They're known for malevolence. They're known for cruelty. And the fact that I drew them and they look like nuns. I mean, nuns live their lives in a state of prayer, often praying for the sins of others. The morality is really coming at me in this dream, like morals, 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 morals. I am definitely a person who thinks about morals and then thinks again about morals and then thinks a little bit more about morals. I do a lot of thinking. But I also do a lot of feeling sorry, feeling guilty, trying to atone for things that I feel I've done bad or wrong. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect person. Even when I try to do right all of the time, I mess up. I'm only human. So this could be a repentant part of myself. And then the number 3, specifically 3 women. I'm sure I can think of 3 women in my life that I feel sorry about, that I feel repentant about. I don't know. I'm thinking about the saris. The fact that they're wearing saris. I cannot separate the sound of that word from the apology word. Even if in this part of my dream, they were not apologetic at all. In fact, they were kind of angry, grumpy, that this was what they had to do. But they're misrepresenting themselves. This is not who they are. And that is shown in the wig slipping in Lady Tremaine. She is hiding who she is, but she can't truly hide it all because it will always be peeking out. Our true selves always find a way to shine out or reveal themselves, whether we want them to or not. And out of the 3, maiden, mother, and crone, we have 2 of them. We've got the maidens and the mother. And then the server is instructed to take away the food, but puts it in her mouth. It was like an avocado sandwich. She took unfinished food off the plate and ate it. I have several thoughts about this. 1, gross. 2, especially in the time of COVID, do not do that. Do not do that. 3, one man's trash is another person's treasure. That one came back again. And this angered Lady Tremaine. This angered her because Lady Tremaine did not want her food being eaten by someone else, even when she was done with it. So, control issues. We all have them in some capacity. I have control issues in my own capacity. Does it extend to people eating off my plate? Yes, but like while I'm using it. I mean, I guess I don't want people eating off my plate when I'm done with it either. This is interesting. I've never thought about this before. And then food, sustenance, feeding ourselves. Something we must do every single day. Or something we choose not to do, even though our body needs it. Relationships and food, very interesting. So I leave the restaurant and I'm aware that 3 mermaids are going to be performing in a hotel room. Now mermaids, I'm thinking of the Little Mermaid from Disney, but these were not that kind of mermaid at all. These were traditional Grecian mermaids, sirens. Mermaid lore has them as seductive creatures, luring men to their deaths. I don't know how it serves them for men to crash upon their shores. I mean, it sounds romantic in theory, but it generally leads to their demise. So, I have this desire to hear them sing, and they're gonna sing doo-wop, which is amazing. Doo-wop is based on harmony, so there's an element of harmony here. I'm desiring to hear this gorgeous harmony, but at what cost? And I know that the cost is losing myself, being destroyed, being devoured. So that's interesting. In one part of the dream, the food plate is being eaten off of, and in the next part of the dream, I'm at risk of becoming the food, of becoming what people feed on to the point where I am no more. So even though I really want to hear these mermaids sing doo-wop, yes, please, Danielle, note to self, write it. I will, thanks. Self 5. So even though I desire to hear this beautiful, seductive music, I don't want to lose myself. And it happens in a hotel room, which is a rented space that sees many a people doing God knows what. But we can imagine all sorts of things that go down in hotel rooms. Shady dealings, lovers' trysts, hangouts, sleepovers, adventures, stakeouts. I don't know. Hotel rooms, man. People staying over while they move house, things like that. So a temporary living space. And then I walk around town and I'm just like, why does this town only have one restaurant? So for a place that's so big, there's only one place to be fed. Feeding, food, and devouring is a theme here. We must eat, but we people eat more than food. We consume ideas. We consume art and literature. It's whatever we put inside of ourselves, whether that feeds us physically or our souls, our spirits. So what are you feeding yourself? I know I'm feeding myself music, entertainment, discourse, ideas, my own art, sharing the images in my dreams with other people. And then we have the number 3 again. 3 with Lady Tremaine and her stepdaughters, and then 3 with the sirens, who I never actually see, but I know exist. 3-3, hey! So 33 is a number of power. It is 3 repeating twice, which means that the power of 3 is being amplified. It really wants you to notice it, because it's like, hi, I'm here. Hey, I'm here again. 33 is also a master number. 33 is a magic number, and I will take it. Okay, guys, this has been another exciting edition of Dreamtime with Danielle. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me for this special birthday edition. Of course it would be fairy tales, of course. If you have a dream that you would like to share, explore, or have me analyze, we'll do this with it, let me know. Information is down below. I hope you guys have a marvelous Friday, and happy October! October is such a great month, not just because it's my birthday. Happy fall. Enjoy this transition time. Reap your harvests. Let the abundance find you, and I will see you guys next time.